Okay. So I had been dating who I'll call Edie for about a month. And Edie lived in Browns Mills, where there really isn't much to do other than each other. And we'd been dating for a month, so we were looking for something else to do. And one night I was down at her place, and this is a couple of years ago, and we're hungry. Actually, we were hungry. So she says, or excuse me, I say, why don't we get a pizza? And she says, ugh. And I say, no? And she says, ugh, no, it's complicated. And pizza's not complicated, which is why I suggested fucking pizza. And so I immediately start thinking at this, I'm like, well, why is this complicated? She's like, well, I used to date the guy who worked at the pizza place, and I don't like to call or go there because it was weird. And so I was like, no, we're going to this pizza place because we've been dating for a month and I gotta know who this guy is. So we drive to the place and we're gonna, we call, excuse me, and we order the pizza. And we drive to the place and I walk in, or excuse me, I'm gonna go in, and she refuses to move. She won't go inside. And so wanting to impress her and wanting to, because, you know, I'm emotionally about 13. I'm 32 right now, but I peaked at 13, maybe 12. I don't want to impress her, and so I'm like, well, you know, come on, it's not a big deal. It's fine. What if I go in? I'll go in character, right? Because this was like the brief period in my life where I entertained the idea of being an actor. Clearly didn't happen. And so she's like, okay. Well, and I was like, well, what should I do? And let's create a character. And she's like, can you be English? And I was like, yes. And she says, be English then. I was like, right-ho. And so I get out of the car and I go inside to this place, and the door opens up, and I go and I'm kind of waiting, and the guys are slinging pizza and everything, and they look over at me and they're like, yeah, anybody helped you yet? I'm like, no, sorry, not yet, no. And they all just kind of go, because this is Browns Mills, New Jersey, and Browns Mills is famous for like pine trees and heroin addiction, and you know, that's it. So, like an Englishman walking into a pizza place is, you know, that would make the front page. And so they look at me and they're like, hey, are you English? And I was like, oh, I am, I'm sorry, yes. Oh, yes. And because in my opinion, all Englishmen are always kind of like uncomfortable and fidgeting in their pants. And so that was like, this is part of my character, right? And they're like, get out, really? English? I love James Bond. You know? And I'm like, oh, yeah, me too. Yeah. So they go and they give me a pizza and we go home and we eat the pizza and so forth. What I didn't realize is that this would actually, I would date Edie for 3 years. Which meant that every time we went to this pizza place, I would have to be this guy. And I did so fucking gleefully. And I would walk in, I'm like, hello, mates, and they'd be like, Ken! Because I told them my name is Kenneth Spangley. Which sounds English enough, right? Like, hello, mates, what's going on? Hey, pizza, right? Throw it up the air, eat it, put it in the oven, now it's good. Ooh, right? They loved it, they ate it right up. They loved my Englishness, right? So, I continue going there, and I have to like deepen my story because they keep asking me questions like, where are you from? What are you doing in America? Like, oh, I'm here at university. We call it college, right? I'm like, what do you study? I'm like, English. You know? And so I like craft this whole story, and I like tell them about how I'm really considering whether I should go back to England or if I should stay in the United States. But I really love it here. And so, sorry. So they're really like, you know, man, you know what? I tell you what, you know, we love you here. So, you know, if you go, that's a shame. Right? So I've begun to develop an emotional relationship with these pizza guys as a person who I'm not. And so 3 years go by, Edie and I stop seeing each other. I break up with Edie, and then I realize that I kind of got to break up with these pizza guys. Because I've been a part of their lives for as long as I've been a part of Edie's life. And they were so happy when I decided to stay in the United States. Like, you have no idea. They gave me free breadsticks. They were really happy, right? They're like, you know, this is from us. I was like, God bless America. Like, they really, they were so into it. But I couldn't bear to walk in there and continue the lie. You know what I mean? For some reason, like, it just felt wrong. Like, suddenly at the end of this relationship, that relationship had to end, and the lie of the relationship with Edie also had to end with the lie of the relationship with these guys. And so, that sounds weird. And so, well, like that. The handcuffs girl, that, I'm with her. So, hi baby. So, I decide essentially to kind of, to bust myself. I go in and I just walk inside. And I stand at the counter and they look at me and they're like, Ken, what are you doing, man? And I'm like, I'm sorry? And they look at me and they're like, what, Ken, what's going on, man? And I'm like, I'm sorry, my name is Andrew. What? And they look at me with like, nothing in their lives has prepared them for this level, frankly, of sociopathy. Like, 'cause it's like, even I am disgusted with myself for this. Because I refuse to take responsibility for it. I just inflicted truth upon them. Right? So I kind of busted them. Right? So I just stand there like, no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I really don't know what you're talking about. And I know, I really feel bad about it. I gotta get out of this story. So they give me my breadsticks, and I take them. And as I leave, they're all watching me, and I look at them and I go, cheery bye, and I just leave. And I have never been back. Shit, sorry. Thank you.